Hello friends, it's Maundy Thursday. It's the last day of our quest of finding the footsteps of Jesus in the Old Testament. Today, I saved Isaiah for last. I wanted to do Isaiah on Maundy Thursday because we have talked about a redemption plan throughout our journey of the last 40 plus days. Today, we are going to see the culmination of the redemption plan, at least phase one of the redemption plan, the prophecy of it. Isaiah is filled with a thread of hope. Jesus' footprints are all over Isaiah. It is an amazing book. We're not even going to try to dip our toes into all of the prophecy that is there. We're simply going to look at a few verses in chapters 52 and 53 that perfectly depict what we are going to honor and celebrate happening tomorrow during Good Friday. These verses specifically point to the Messiah and what he has to do. These verses specifically point to what God has been leading us to throughout this whole journey. And there's so much more than we dove into. And I highly encourage you, when you have some time, to take the books of the Old Testament and find Jesus in them. And when you start digging, you will find him in so many ways. And it's so beautiful to see him woven throughout the scripture that he came to fulfill. So today we're going to look at chapter 52 verse 13 through chapter 53 verse 12. And we'll just dig right in. Chapter 52 verses 13 through 15 starts us out on a note of triumph. See, my servant will act wisely. He will be raised and lifted up and highly exalted. Just as there were many who were appalled at him, his appearance was so disfigured beyond that of any human being, and his form marred beyond human likeness. So he will sprinkle many nations, and kings will shut their mouths because of him. For what they were not told, they will see, and what they have not heard, they will understand. Then we go on to the rejection of this servant that God has sent. The rejection of him in these words. Who has believed our message, and to whom has the arm of the Lord been revealed? He grew up before him like a tender shoot, and like a root out of dry ground. He had no beauty or majesty to attract us to him, nothing in his appearance that we should desire him. He was despised and rejected by mankind, a man of suffering and familiar with pain. Like one from whom people hide their faces, he was despised, and we held him in low esteem. He was a suffering servant, rejected, and a suffering servant for you and for me. Verses 4 through 6. Surely he took up our pain and bore our suffering. Yet we considered him punished by God, stricken by him, and afflicted. But he was pierced for our transgressions. He was crushed for our iniquities. The punishment that brought us peace was on him, and by his wounds we are healed. We all like sheep have gone astray. Each of us has turned to our own way, and the Lord has laid on him the iniquity of us all. He suffered for you, and he suffered for me, because we can't be good enough without him. And the only way we can get to our Holy Father in heaven is through this suffering servant. It's hard for me to read this as something that's going to happen because you and I know that it happened. But these words happened before Jesus was even born, hundreds of years. Verses 7 through 9, he is completely abandoned in these moments. He will be completely abandoned in these moments. He was oppressed and afflicted, yet he did not open his mouth. He was led like a lamb to the slaughter, and as a sheep before its shear is silent, he did not open his mouth. By oppression and judgment he was taken away. Yet who of his generation protested? For he's cut off from the land of the living. For the transgression of my people he was punished. He was assigned a grave with the wicked and with the rich in his death, though he had done no violence, nor was there any deceit in his mouth. In verses 10 through 12, the redemption plan in this prophecy is telling the Israelites the redemption plan will be complete when, verses 10 through 12. Yet it was the Lord's will to crush him and cause him to suffer. And though the Lord makes his life an offering for sin, he will see his offspring and prolong his days. And the will of the Lord will prosper in his hand. After he has suffered, he will set the light of life and be satisfied. By his knowledge, my righteous servant will justify many, and he will bear their iniquities. Therefore, I will give him a portion among the great, and he will divide the spoils with the strong, because he poured out his life unto death and was numbered with the transgressors. For he bore the sin of many and made intercession for the transgressors. It is a promise. This is a promise that it will be complete. The redemption plan, phase 1 will be complete. Phase 2, we're still waiting on, but it will be complete too. We cannot look at the promises that God has made throughout the Old Testament and the prophecies that have come true to not know that what we've been told about the second coming isn't true. We know it to be true because of everything, the faithfulness and grace and mercy he has given us throughout Scripture. The redemption plan will be complete when Jesus dies on the cross. Tomorrow, we will, in memory of that, in honor of that, and yes, to celebrate that, because without his death, we have no chance of making it to be with our Father in heaven forever. Tomorrow, we will remember that, and we will honor it, and we will celebrate it. Until then, have a wonderful day.